another beautiful day here in tropical North Queensland. Today we are heading up to Ingham from Townsville. I'm not going to record the whole way, I'm just going to record the points of interest and little things along the way. So we are currently on the ring road. This is a bypass, this is the main highway and it's a bypass to the city of Townsville. So this part here is the only single lane carriageway along the ring road, which hopefully they will be upgrading soon and doing a duplication of. So this here was all opened only a few years ago now. I think probably this section might have opened up maybe about 10 years ago. So there's a lot of development has been happening out here with new estates. Since they've opened this road, it's really gone ahead, this whole area. Section here is a newer section and it was opened up probably around about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And the dual lane carriageway starts just up ahead. Since they've opened this section of the road, it's cut off probably a good 10 minutes of drive. And it's a very pleasant drive. So Ingham is 100 kilometres away and Cairns is 337 kilometres away. I'm not going there today, we'll just stick with Ingham for now. This exit here, you can go off to Bushland Beach. But this is pretty much it for the motorway, the dual lane carriageway. So we'll get back onto normal road soon. This area out here, it's quite an old area and it's mostly urban rural, so blocks of land from 1 acre up to 4 or 5 acres. People who just want room to move or might have horses or that sort of thing. And the area on the left, this is called all this area is called Sugarcane. section, this area here is called Blue Water, and they've just done a whole pile of roadworks here. As you can see, the road's quite new. It took them a long time to get it done, and even though all the road markings are completed, they still have the speed limit posted at 80 kilometres an hour. This is a nice quiet little area out here. I don't believe there's a lot of people that live out here, but it's just far enough away from Townsville to feel like you're in a rural setting or in a little country town setting, but close enough to be able to drive to all your amenities and stuff like that. Now there's red bitumen up here, and I don't know why it's red. I've tried to do some research online, but I've not been able to find out why they have that section red, and they have another section on the other side of Blue Water as well. I've got no idea what it represents. So one of the problems of this stretch between Townsville and Ingham is that there's not many places to overtake. So when we get to these overtaking lanes, you'll find people the traffic will back up. And this one's a pretty good one. It's quite a long overtaking lane. The area we're coming into now is called Rolling Stone. And this is kind of the unofficial halfway mark between Townsville and Ingham. Turning to the right, you go down to Belgale Beach. There's actually quite a few people that live down there. I was rather surprised. We'll go for a drive down there one day. And there's also a small police station here that's manned by one person. They've got a petrol station that has a very small shop attached to it. They used to make really good sangers and sandwiches and stuff. I don't know if they still do. I don't stop here anymore. And of course there is the Rolling Stone pub. This is quite a popular watering hole, especially in winter. In summer, you get a lot of people from Townsville will come here just for a drink. There's a great swimming hole here as well, and again we'll make a point of coming back and checking them all out. Here on both the left and right hand side are what used to be quarantine stations. They still use them as for portable weighbridge, but you don't see it used very often. Sometimes the road transport guys will be there set up, pulling over semis and such to make sure that all their books and everything's in order. Coming up ahead here is what's called the Frosty Mango, and it's just a place to stop off. You can get coffee, tea, ice creams in particular, those kind of things. It's just a nice little stop off point. Stop there for half an hour, have a bite to eat, and then you're on your way again. So we're coming back into areas where they've got roadworks. So they've been repairing this road for a little while now, and I was up here 2 weeks ago and it looked exactly like this, so they just need to pull their fingers out and put the line markings on, and then we can go back to normal speed. Normally it's 100 kilometres an hour along here, but when there's roadworks we're pushed down to 80 kilometres an hour, obviously for safety reasons. So this area that we're coming into now, this is the district that I grew up in, born and bred here, and as you can see, loads of tractors. I was not expecting that, well, I was expecting to see that at some point, but right on cue. And sugarcane. Sugarcane is the main industry here. This is the Hinchinbrook Shire. We're currently in the crushing season, so that's why you'll see tractors around and cane bins. If you're lucky, we might get to see a cane train. You've got to be lucky to see them though. So to the left they're doing some planting. In this location they do what they call a green cut. Many years ago, like when I was a kid, they used to burn the cane first to get rid of the vermin and stuff, and it got rid of a lot of the trash and the undergrowth, and they would burn it, and we used to get black snow, we used to call it, come floating down, but they stopped doing that a little while ago, probably, I don't know, maybe close to 20 years ago now, if not more. The Burdekin, which is to the south of Townsville, they still do the fires, and one day I'd like to go down there and have a little reminisce and watch that again. I'm not a fan of driving at night time, and the best time to see it, they do it right on dusk, and it is just beautiful. So I'll have to go and stay down there one night and check it out. So if we took the road to the left here, we would end up out at a place called Abergowrie. There's a lot to see around Ingham, quite a bit to see. This area here is called Helen's Hill Plains, and there was a little school back there on the right. That was the school that my dad went to when he decided to go to school. He was rather well known for not going to school. In fact, once upon a time he skipped out on school for 6 weeks while his mother was in hospital from an operation. Needless to say, when he got caught, he was pretty much flogged for it. This area along here, there's a great little spot to stop off here. It's all just been newly upgraded, and you can, on long weekends they open it up for so that you can just stop, have a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. That's run by volunteers. And this area here is notorious for flooding. All of this new section here they've raised the road and the bridges to higher than what they were previously. because the flooding just gets so bad here, it cuts off all of the highway, and people get stuck for days sometimes, unable to go north or south. This in particular here, this bridge is raised quite high, and I don't believe that it floods anymore. This area that we're coming into now is called Tibana, and this is where I was born and where I grew up for the first 12 years of my life. On the right hand side is a family owned farm. They're relatives of ours, the Rigasolis. To the left is where my auntie and uncle used to live, and just up the road down the left there is the house where I was, well, I wasn't born there, but where I grew up, and next to that was the house where my nana lived. That was my dad's mother. So this was sort of like all my playground when I was a little kid, up to 12. And again, here's this red bitumen, which I'm thinking it's to do with speed, with the speed zones, now that I've seen it. On the left is the Tibana State School. I went there until grade 3. And on the right hand side is where my cousins, when I was a little girl, my auntie and uncle used to live on the right hand side, and then they had a pig farm, and I can remember I can still smell the pig farm in my smelling memory, whatever you want to call it. But yes, I can remember feeding the pigs, and I used to stay there sometimes on school holidays or after school. Those mountains that you see in front of us are actually from Hinchinbrook Island, which is the world's largest national park island. So some of those are from that island. I've never been on that island, but I wouldn't mind going one day. After Cyclone Yasi came through, it destroyed the buildings and stuff that were there. They stopped people from going, but I believe it has opened up again. The easiest way to get there is either from a place called Lucinda or to go up to Cardwell. Right, we are now coming into Ingham. Was the place that I was born at, the Ingham Hospital. Ingham hasn't changed much at all from when I was a kid. It's still pretty much the same. A couple of extra buildings, but otherwise it's still the same. The Shire itself has around about 6,000, a population of 6,000. On the left-hand side is the old Ingham Cemetery. That's the original Ingham Cemetery. And I want to do a video on that one day because it's quite interesting. There's a few stories to be told about the people who are laid to rest there. Up on the left is the going to be the Ingham Airport. It's just a small airport. The kind of place where like Cessnas and the like, they have had jets, small jets, private jets come in here. I remember when I was a kid, Gina Lollobrigida flew into Ingham. My mum's got a photo somewhere of Gina Lollobrigida, and I think she's actually got a signed autograph of hers as well. Sorry, a signed photo of hers. So all of these, I'm noticing all of the new signage for the speed limits. They never used to be that big. And Ingham is notorious for coppers cracking down on people who speed, so don't speed in Ingham. So we're just going to do a little spin around the town of Ingham, the main drag as they call it. On the left hand side is a tidal wetland, so I'm going to do a video on that. I have been in there and it's quite nice. It's very calming and very relaxing, and it's beautiful, and lots of bird life and stuff like that. And there's 3 sets of traffic lights in Ingham. This one, the one ahead, and then another one that we'll get to go through, and that's it. I remember laughing the first time that I came home. I used to live in Melbourne, and I came home and they'd put traffic lights in, and I thought that was the funniest thing ever, because we don't get any traffic here, as you can see. Okay, if you go straight ahead and go right, you're following the main highway, the Bruce Highway. We're going to go left and head up what's called Lanarkos Street. So this is Lanarkos Street. This is the main street in Ingham, which is where all the shops are. There's a Coles there and a Target. At one point in time, Ingham had the record for the number of pubs in a town. That's pretty much the end of Lanarkos Street. So we're just going to chuck a Yui here. And as I said, there's this hasn't changed since I was a kid, really. A couple of the shops have changed. Some of the pubs are no longer here that were here years ago. The pub that was on the left, the Lee's Motel, that's supposed to be the pub where the song "The Pub with No Beer" is supposed to be written about. I lied, there's another set of traffic lights there. That's 4 sets of traffic lights. On the right's Rotary Park, and that's the gathering place. They have a couple of big festivals here, Maraca Festival and the Italian Festival. The Maraca Festival usually ends up in that park. The Italian Festival, the whole place becomes Little Italy. The reason why they have an Italian festival is because a lot of the population here, the settlers of Ingham, were immigrants, in particular Italians, a lot of Sicilians. So we're going to head right and go out to see my parents. You probably won't video the entire way there, but you'll get I'll give you a little sticky beak and give an idea of the Backstreets and the housing and that sort of stuff that's around here. That's, by the way, is the last lot of traffic lights in Ingham. I was to follow this road out, we would go to Forest Beach, which is where I grew up as a teenager. And again, we'll do a visit out there one day. Today I'm visiting my family, so I won't have time to get out and visit all the other places that I'd love to take you, but I will take you over time. Okay, so this little area here, on the left hand side is the Ingham State High School. That's the high school I went to for 5 years. So we're just coming around the Backstreets now. Straight ahead in front of us, that's the Ingham Hospital. It used to be a tiny little white timber building, but it got all pulled down and replaced with this concrete monstrosity that's there now. And then on the right hand side is the Ingham State School, where I went to from grade 3 through to grade 7. On the left is the Ingham swimming pool, and we're just going to turn down this way, go around some more back streets. It's just an absolutely beautiful day today. And that ahead of us is the Ingham Showgrounds. And the tennis club. Unfortunately, a truck or a semi is going to get ahead of us. So now we're just going to head back to Townsville and we can enjoy the ride. This is probably one of my favourite views coming into Townsville along this road here. That's Mount Stewart. I see Mount Stewart, and we can actually go up there. We'll go up there one day. I've actually got a video already where we've been for a walk around the top, but that was with my old GoPro, so I'd love to try it with this new GoPro 7 Black. The stabilisation is just amazing. So we'll go for a walk up there again one day. But it's just, every time I see this view, I think I'm home. It just feels like home to me when I see Mount Stewart. And it doesn't matter where I see it from the south side, from the east side, from the west, it just feels like home. Okay guys, well we're going to be turning off pretty soon, so thanks for joining me. Please come along on future trips. I hope to get out and do a couple more trips. There's so much to see around these locations, and I've been to many of them, I just haven't documented it, so I think it's a good idea to start documenting things, because with the way everything changes so much, it's really good to look back in 20 years time and go, wow, look at all of the changes since we were last here. So that's what I'm planning on doing over the coming months, is getting out and documenting as much of North Queensland and the way that it looks now, so that when I look back after I've retired and I sit there and look back and do a comparison, I can just see how much stuff has changed. So thanks for joining us, and until next time, take care.